Welcome back to the CounterStrike Casuals podcast. Briley, how are you? Okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Really good, man. How are you?
All well, thank you. All well. What number is this? Episode 64? We're at 64.
Yeah,
It's
64.
mental. Mental.
Nice. How's things your end, mate?
All good, thank you. Just, life churning over as usual. Living, loving, laugh. What was it? Love, live, life. What's that? Other people in other countries.
Wall, yeah?
Yeah, other people in other countries. So they have that in other countries. I'd be intrigued to know.
Probably that way.
In Britain and England, you have just like this cringe, embarrassing saying. I think was it love, live, laugh.
Something
Love,
like that, yeah.
And it's
We're very much a nation of like, we hate like cringy things and it, like, to be honest, most American things British people find quite cringy. You can't do anything that's a little bit eccentric here without people saying that's cringe.
Yeah. Well, Americans are loud, and we don't like that. But then I think we are quite loud as well. Like Brits abroad, it's got to be some of the loudest people ever. In like especially when there's alcohol involved, for just horrible people to be around when you're overseas. So I don't see how you can call Americans like loud and cringe, and we're like the worst people ever. Put a group of 5 to 8 Brits in like a European city. That's got to be the most cringe, embarrassing group of people I'll ever see.
Can we like do like a little disclaimer and tell like, because CounterStrike's pretty big throughout Europe, right? So maybe like we can just tell our European friends that we're not always like that. There's just a small select few that like to go to certain countries in Europe and just get a bit leery.
Well, we went to Copenhagen for CounterStrike and we were leery.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
was definitely embarrassing in Copenhagen. Not like
Why?
we weren't like, tearing up the streets or doing anything stupid, but we were very loud. And I think we were enjoying the locals and the booze and all that. Are you cutting out a bit? Are we having this again? Oh my lord!
I feel
every
this is like,
week.
Let's carry on. The first 10 seconds, or just the beginning of the podcast, this happens, and then the rest of it's fine.
It's like a warm up. If you listen this far, like, follow, and subscribe.
Yeah, I wanted to say actually that I appreciate everybody that's been watching the podcast, because we had like a massive high with loads more views than I think we anticipated or expected, and I just really appreciate it. And if people can just subscribe to the channel, if you're interested in Counter-Strike and you don't mind our podcast, just give it a subscribe, because a lot of people listen, not a lot of people subscribe really. And I know a lot of podcasts are saying that at the minute, or a lot of YouTube channels are just saying that in general, but it really does help our channel. And if we want to carry on doing this, which we both do, we both really enjoy it, we need to see that people are enjoying it too. Otherwise, it seems a little bit pointless. So yeah, please just subscribe, like, comment, let us know you're there.
Yeah, and you know what? With that, let's run the intro, shall we? That's a nice segue into Counter-Strike. Alright, so what we got on the agenda this week? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to hit me with? Hit me with your fucking Counter-Strike rhythm stick, bruh. Hit me with your Galil. Galil me up.
Right, well, we've got quite a bit to get through tonight, but I want to talk about the RMRs. The RMRs are finished now. We've got the opening stages starting on Thursday.
No, I think it's Saturday. I think it's weekend.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The opening stage is wank, though. I mean, it's going to be less excited about that opening stage, which, in a way, I guess is the way a competition like this should work. The best teams are going further into the next advanced stage, but I don't know. It'd be fun to see some cool matchups actually at the major as opposed to the RMR. But anyway, sorry, continue.
This should be interesting, though. I feel like there's always some dark horses that get through at majors, and that is one of my favorite parts of a major, to be honest. Like seeing the underdogs come through and see how well people can do. Because I was looking at these teams as well, and none of them seem to have played anyone that big or that interesting. So it's not like anyone's really surprised me so far. But there's no like giant killers at the minute. But
I
the
mean,
one game,
the only ones might be wild card that seem to weirdly be probably got through, which most people didn't think, and maybe those passion guys, which it's actually Shinchenko's team, isn't it? The Arsenal player, which is interesting because of all the controversy around owner picks. Or we've got a footballer that's got a CounterStrike team where actually everyone seems to be pretty positive and saying that they looked really good and playing some really good CounterStrike, and they qualified, so that's pretty cool. And they deserved it, right? So fair play to them. I think it's probably more acceptable for a footballer or a sports person to back a esports or CounterStrike team than a streamer, it seems. I guess also he did put his face on it.
I think it's more his face and more the fact that they went through the Asian RMRs.
Yeah, you're right.
Really Asian team.
But you get what I'm saying. It's just funny that if Drillers had gone through the Europa and he'd still done his face, I still think he would have got stick. I think people just like to give someone like that stick.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have an opinion on someone like that before they start a Counter-Strike team anyway. And if you don't have an opinion on him or you don't know much about him, and then you're just like, what? He's put his face as the logo. You're probably already making judgments before you even know anything about him or what's going on.
Yeah. Can I also just say, before you get into what you want to talk about, LOL, Astralis. Well, it's not LOL because we did talk about the mental health of device, etc. But it is still also kind of karma or something. The Astralis owners deserve not to be like in the major. I'm not saying the players necessarily. Cadian deserves to be at the major. I always want to see Cadian there, and Device would, and Stare and Bro, but Astralis not at a major again. Jesus Christ. So I think
you kind of said you had a soft spot for Cadian, or you.
I do have a soft spot for Cadian, and I want them to do well. I want them to perform better than they did without Cadian, because I do like Cadian, and I've always said I feel he's underrated. But no Astralis and no Eternal Fire were probably the big names. And I also said B8 were going to go through, because I thought NPL was going to carry them. They went 0-3, so oh my god. They actually only got one round against Spirit, who look shaky in themselves, right? So I mean, that was an awful shout by me, and I thought that NPL had been performing really well this year. I actually watched a random few highlights from them like earlier in the year, and mate, he was looking really good. He played really well in one of the games I watched. He was like their only good performer. But so B8, Eternal Fire, and Astralis from that group were the latest RMR group were the ones that I was shocked didn't make it through. But hey ho, we are where we are.
Yeah, I wasn't super shocked with Astralis, to be honest, because it's just like, yeah, with what they just went through and everything. How do you think they're gonna do, like looking forward without Device now, and with Cadian, Stown, Yabby, and Stare? And
well, Device isn't out completely, is he? I think he just said for the rest of this year, so that there's nothing else to happen after the major. So I have no idea.
Do you think he's gonna come back?
I think what else does a Device do? I know Chad
it's
suggested
so difficult without any inside information. It's so hard to say.
Yeah, Chad suggested on Talk and Counter him being like a content creator or something, which is a sensible suggestion. But deep down, you're still Device, aren't you? Like,
I don't think, to be honest, I think that's probably the worst thing for him. Like,
mate,
I imagine
the
the
fame
and attention and everything. Yeah, is probably like the worst thing.
But I think his problem is traveling, isn't it? And like the schedule is quite rough. So if he's able to sit at home and stream, it's pretty cushy. I get the feeling Smooya wants to do that overplay for Into the Breach, so I think it's quite a cushy lifestyle for a lot of gamers. Considering these people are gamers at heart, their love of game, their love for this is sitting at home, not fucking having to probably go to Shanghai. And I mean, especially in somewhere like Shanghai, I think that the fans there take it pretty seriously. It's a bit like you get mobbed type thing, don't you, out there for this kind of thing. It's not
especially
like
in
if
device.
it's not like if you had it in London where you're just getting mobbed in Five Guys by drunk deers. It's like proper. You are like unable to go down to the like outside the venue. So, I think what should Devise do? Fuck it, man. Retire. Do you know what? Let's mix some things up. Just retire. Just be done with that. Retire and go into the HLTV Hall of Fame that they've now announced.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. Spit your truth about the RMRs. I know you had some stuff to say.
Not loads, to be honest. I just for the one game I really had my eyes on was Spirit and G2 because obviously they're some of the top boys that we might be seeing further down the line face each other. And it was interesting because Spirit are one of these. When they first came on the scene, they were like one of these top teams, and they were like, "Oh my god, look at these guys!" Like Donk was just steamrolling everybody. When he first come on, we'd never seen anything like it. Like we'd seen good players before, but we'd never seen anything like Donk. He's kind of been a bit of a revolution in himself. Do you know what I mean? Like people talking about the Donk slide and pros looking at how he plays and his movement and his crosshair placement, and he's just kind of changed the game. So I really wanted to watch that, and I actually had some time to sit down and watch, which is rare for me to watch 3 maps um, without being interrupted. And the first map was a bit disappointing, to be honest. They played Ancient on the first map, and both teams felt like they weren't playing very well, like neither of them. Um, it seemed like Spirit were taking really good map control. They were doing really well in the first half in the mid rounds, but towards the end of the rounds, they were just being really bad, like just really bad post plants, like double peeking areas they didn't need to, really bad positioning, like all the team watching the same positions. I think G2 defused the bomb um, in a smoke on one round. They had no one covering the bomb on one round. They were just really bad, and it was pretty much the same on map 2, apart from um, G2 improved a little bit, but Spirit actually beat them on Mirage, which is the first time they've ever beat them on Mirage, which was interesting. So I do feel like Spirit are getting a little bit better, and Donk actually said that in an interview. He said he feels like they're improving every time they play G2, which is interesting in itself. But the way I was thinking about these teams is you've got Donk and Shiro on Spirit, and then you've got Malbs, Monacy, Nico on G2. So it's just like it's no comparison really. You would expect G2 to win every time.
Yeah, I think with like Hunter's better than Zontix as well, isn't it? Like
Hunter played really well. I would say Hunter on maybe map 1 and 2 was probably their most impactful player. He was taking space. He was just a game changer. He played really well. I think Nico was like top frag, but to be honest with you, Hunter was the most impactful player for me. Just seeing what he was doing, how much like he was making the map so much smaller for Spirit, and yeah, he played really well. And to be honest, in the past I thought he's the player they need to get rid of, but he did really well against them.
I still think
these games.
he's probably still the weak link of the other, the out.
Oh yeah,
I
I mean
wanted to, I
Malb's
wanted
unreal. Monacy didn't have a good series against them. Monacy was whiffing a few shots, but we know that's rare for Monacy, so you can kind of live with that.
yeah.
Spirit definitely needs to change something up though. There's too much pressure on Donk. Not pressure, but they ask too much of him.
I don't think he minds it at all. I think
I don't think he minds it. I think he probably revels on it a bit, but
yeah.
they're asking too much from him, and
He
he
needs
was
some
getting caught.
support, doesn't he? If Shiro doesn't turn up, then there's no one
Yeah,
that's going to consistently give
Shiro
him some
played
help.
pretty well, to be honest. Donk wasn't himself. He had glimpses where he just reminds you of who he is. But overall, he just wasn't himself. He was getting spammed through smokes quite a lot and getting shot in the back, or getting caught with his nade out or something. So
Just doing
It
like
wasn't a
proper
great
casual
tournament,
things.
yeah. But we all have those games, right? We
Oh,
have those games where
every
like you
game.
just can't do anything right, and your timing's just wrong every time, and it's rare for Donk as well. But
You should have taken the Diz advice, right? When that happens, man, never buy util.
yeah,
Just focus on killing some people. If you just don't buy util for like 2 rounds, if you're really struggling and feel like you're doing newbie things, that's my fix. Get like 3 kills, and then you're like, okay, I can actually play this game. Now I buy a nade and fuck it up again.
that's Donk's thing though, right? Like once he's got a few kills, he usually just goes off, and it's like he's been activated. But yeah, he showed some frustration in this series.
Did you think seeing like them in the RMRs either could have a deep run? I mean, interesting. I saw the Valve seeding, I think, or the ranking, and mate, just like they put G2 number 1 in the world, or seeded. They seeded them number 1, and it's just again, even Valve are like on this. It's like Valve.
Valve have put them as number 1, yeah.
It's like Valve were in this fucking same orgy room as Yanko, Kassad, all these other people with Nico and G2. Like, oh my god, give me a break. Like, it's fine, they are top 3. But why have they always got... G2 could win fuck all year and someone will put them number 1 in, like, the actual...
Who would you put above them?
Na'Vi!
Who else?
No one. Don't worry, Na'Vi's 1. So don't need to put G2. Guys, don't worry. Nico is still a good player. Ah! Everyone's going to cry.
I mean...
Mate, Nico's probably going to get fucking in this Hall of Fame, even though in this HLTV Hall of Fame, you're meant to not be playing CounterStrike. Somehow, Nico's going to get in this year. They'll be like, do you know what? We'll make a special exception for Nico. Put him in. Put him in.
You hate him because everyone loves him.
I hate him because he's done fuck all in CS2, really. And he's still regarded as like this enigma. He is a legend, but he never won a major. You know, I wouldn't want to play with him on a team. I'd rather play with Simple.
Would your opinion change if he won a major?
Definitely, yeah.
So instantly then you go, right, okay, fair.
If they win this major, I will gladly say that all this chat... If anything, I'd actually pat me on the back and I'd thank me. Because all the shit I've been giving him this year...
You've driven him.
I've driven him. He's used it as motivation. They've sat down in the practice...
It's a win-win for you.
They've got our videos up in the practice room. They are one of our nine views. And they've seen it and gone, listen, you need to shut this guy up. And then they're going to... And so I will take credit.
And I think he's going to like rip his t-shirt off at the end and he's going to have a t-shirt that says, fuck you, Diz.
Yeah, man, imagine. That'd actually be sick.
I was going to say, who's the most stacked team in CS at the minute?
Ooh, good question. For that, I must get the rankings.
There's 2 teams.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what they are, do you?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Well, do you know what? It probably is fucking G2. That's the annoying thing. Because Monacy, Malbs, and Nico is just a mental 3-piece, isn't it? Like,
yeah, Malbs is so good.
Yeah,
he's
Malbs
one of my
is really good.
players.
Yeah, he's actually really exciting and like just good. I don't think Spirit, because Donk is really the only player there.
Yeah. Shiro is good, but yeah.
Shiro is good, but he's too inconsistent. It probably is Na'Vi as well, because you cannot deny Bit and JL as actual players, and then Wonderful is actually a very consistent AWPer, and like has actually done his bit. And I think if you went to anyone other than Zyru and like Monacy and said Wonderful's available, I think most of the top 10 teams take him. So I actually think Wonderful is cemented his role as like good enough for that kind of top 5 team. So probably Na'Vi or G2 are the 2 stacked teams. I don't
know. It's Vitality and G2.
What? Because there's Saru, Spinks, and Mezzi.
Flames.
And Flames.
Yeah, Zywu, Flames, Spinks, are ridiculous.
And Messi's now just playing sick.
Messi's popped off.
So
Because
hang on, the top 3 teams are the most stacked. Who would have thought it?
No, I wouldn't say Navi are like
Mate, yeah, but Bit
stacked.
And JL are actually just really good players. Imma has now...
Well, they're not like... I would say Bit, JL, Imma, and Wonderful, they're all good players, but I wouldn't put them as like S-tier players like I would Monacy. I probably would Malbs. I would Nico. I would Zywoo. I would Spinks. Flames.
Well, Bit. Listen, Bit probably is an S tier player. Like
you could maybe put Bit in there.
He's won 2 majors.
You can't put the others in.
He's won 2 majors. He fucking just turns up.
No. You're looking at it wrong. You're going off what they've achieved. If you say what achieved, yeah, they are the most stacked. But
no, but he's
like
also
firepower and
he has got that firepower though. Also, Bit's 21. I know we feel like Bit's like Nico's age because he's been in the game because Bit's been a player for a long time. But that's mental when you look at it like that.
Yeah, Bit is ridiculous.
Bit's actually like an up and coming young star when you look at it like that. Or maybe that's just to us because we're old as fuck. But okay,
yeah, well, you got players like Donk and Monacy. How old's Monacy these days?
Mate, young. Yeah, I mean that's. Well, he's friends with Bit, isn't he? They're mates from when they're in the academy days. So.
Yeah, that's true actually.
Mate, Donk's 17. He's getting on. Right. We digress. Okay. So let's move on from RMRs because we've spoke about. And sorry, unless you've got anything else to add on it.
No, they're done, aren't they? They're in the past. We're living in the future, mate. What's going on?
The future is Faceit 2.0. Let's just quickly touch this. We don't need to talk about this. Why I want to talk about this is...
No, you need to tell me because I don't know anything about this.
Okay, so as a casual user and experience of CounterStrike and Faceit, I've definitely felt Faceit's needs some improvements over the years. In particular, they said that they've like overhauled the UI and made it like a more user friendly experience.
It definitely needs that,
mate. It's a bit better. Yeah, I mean it's only tweaked slightly, and it definitely does feel a bit better, but it's not like dramatically changed. The app is still the app. It still kind of looks the same way. There's still some elements of it which are not that intuitive to find and get to, but hey ho, whatever. It is a slight improvement. They've updated the stats dramatically. They show a lot more almost like CS stats, the website that we use, or Leatify or whatever. They've made that pretty much integrated into it, which is definitely a good thing. Like, I think that's a good thing. They put a cool kind of graphic of like activity on the calendar, which show like what months you played more and stuff. You know, just some other little things, but mainly like the specific stats of win rates. You know, maps you were better at, flash success, utility damage. Basically, what we use on the other websites they've put into the app, which is cool. Whatever, it's good to have that in one spot. The big news is around the smurfing, which in particular they're basically saying that their anti-cheat is now detecting smurfs. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's from...
Yeah, anyone who's good is like, okay, you're smurfing.
I think it can detect if they might have multiple logs.
It said something like that. They banned 40,000 smurfs on their main accounts.
Yeah, 40,000 smurfs banned already. It's a lot of people. I mean,
did it say something like they banned like 40,000 people? They expect to hit like 100,000 by the weekend or something.
Well, the rate they're going, that's not surprising, is it? If they've done 40,000 in 24 hours. So there's also reporting smurfs. They're saying that they've got a team basically working on that. So if you report what you believe to be a smurf, someone's going to look into it. And if they are a smurf, you'd assume get banned pretty quickly.
How can they prove that? Yeah, like you say, if they've got multiple accounts, then
it's way over our head, whatever. Like, that is great. Like, if that actually is going to work and that's actually going to, you know, be a thing, cool, great. Do you know what? Compared to cheaters in, like, Premier or competitive in the actual CS client, I don't feel like we come across loads of smurfs. Like, I feel like cheating's a bigger problem in the actual CS.
I couldn't care less if someone was smurfing, as long as, I mean, so
Why?
the
You
match, the
would.
match.
You definitely would.
No, if someone's cheating, yeah, like, yeah, I think that's annoying. That's like the most annoying thing in the game. If they're smurfing, I'm not that bothered. I'm not that bothered. The matchmaking's that bad anyway. We play against like fucking Faceit 10 sometimes anyway. So,
All right. Well, let's move on to the
which
matchmaking because. Go on,
I
sorry.
I was just gonna say, if someone was listening to this and they don't play Faceit, for example, they just play normal matchmaking. Um, would you recommend they play Faceit, and if so, why? Because they've not got like the better servers these days. It's just
Well, I think it's around these things we're now talking about, which is the improved anti-cheat, the anti-smurf cheat now, if you want to call it that. I think the perception or the caliber of people that often will go to face it usually want to take it a bit more seriously, or maybe not at the lower ranks, but as you progress, you get a caliber of people that actually want to perform and try and work as a team to win. So I would say it's taken a bit more seriously in that sense, and yeah, those are the main ones. But what you were touching on then about we can sometimes queue with tens or whatever. The big thing that I think has been a great introduction is this is the filter, or the way that you can effectively filter or adapt what you're looking for in a group. So you can post a group to play, and you can completely I keep saying filter, it's the only way I can say. You can completely refine it so that you only play with levels your Faceit rank, or Faceit ranks 2 to 6 or 2 to 7, only people that speak your language or a certain language, and really whittle down who you actually want to play with, which I think is a good thing. It could be a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing. I think I like it. From my understanding and from what I remember, I think they've used some of these features before. They haven't quite worked in the past as well, and then they took them out. So hoping that this is fixed and it does work as intended. I think that's only a good thing though, being able to really refine or whittle down, especially if you're solo queuing. That's the main thing. Like if I want to play on my own, you guys aren't on, it's like I really just don't want to.
you're just like, I want to play against Faceit ones. And that's it.
Yeah. I want to smurf, but on my main account. So it's good for that. The other reintroduction, which again I think they've had before, is the ability to vote kick, which I thought was good. You know, like normal CS, obviously. I thought that was good, and I was like, oh, that's really good. But then I did see a lot of tweets and comments from particularly female players who were like, can't wait to just get kicked instantly. And I was like, oh god, that's just like the sad reality.
Why
Because
would you
people are just going to troll them. That's the sad reality. Like I was about to say, is like the sad reality is like there's just a load of dickheads that are just going to be like, vote kick the bird.
But it's got to be like, I assume it's the same voting as in CS now.
Just say no. That normal people, we would say no. But though, yeah, I think it would be the same. I don't know. So I think that's a good feature. You'd hope so. But again, maybe what if you get a 3-stack? And
why would you kick a player though? Because then it's just like you're just playing with one player down.
well,
yeah, I'm trying.
Okay.
Well,
when we play Faceit this weekend, let's talk about it next week, because I bet we're like, we got kicked. They were pricks.
Yeah. I wonder what the queue times are going to be like as well if everyone's putting these filters on. That'll be interesting to see.
Well, I was
how
looking
it works.
when it got released. I was looking at the it's almost like WoW Find a Group, if anyone's ever familiar with that. Like the groups looking for groups, or the group will like pop up really quick and then like go really quick. So it's like you might have to be like really. Some will stick around as well, because I think you will apply to a group, and then people can see, oh, Diz whatever, Faceit level whatever's this many games. Oh, he's not that got many games. Nah, don't trust it. You know, like in looking for group and WoW, it's like you'll have like I always had this because I didn't play WoW, again, casual WoW player, but I would argue, without being arrogant, it's not bad for the amount I played, and so I'd try and get into like a. Let's say I've only done a mythic dungeon like level 9 twice. I'd try and get into a 9. and I just get rejected. And I'll be like, why? I've done the 9, I've completed it, you can see. And they'll be like, yeah, but you've done 2. Like, we've got people applying that have done it like 70 times. I'm like, oh, great. I can't do the dungeon, you're just not letting me in. So I wonder if that might start coming into it, where again we're likely to have less reps or maps than a lot of people, and we might get rejected. So like, you've only played, you know, Mirage 50 times, but we've got someone that's played it 300. We're going to go with the 300 if it's the same rank as you, which makes sense. I would, wouldn't you? You'd go, oh yeah, I'll give it to that guy.
No,
So
I'd be like, you played it 300 times and you're still shit. So no, I'll be like, oh, you're not playing.
Okay, now I'm actually really excited for us to start a group. Aren't you? I kind of want to start a group now and just sit back and see what we get.
Yeah.
Just reject everyone.
So you have like a group leader that chooses like...
Yeah, I think so. I think it's exactly like looking for group with WAM. That's
Okay,
what it looks like to me.
That sounds interesting.
If anyone's listening which you probably have played it over us because you haven't had a chance yet, yeah, it'd be cool, man. Let us know what you think. So I think those are the main things to Faceit. The biggest thing they've still not done is removed knife rounds. Listen. Oh, everyone's so like, oh my god, knife round, you can't change knife round. Listen, remove knife round, make everyone's life and quality of life better. We can play more games, we can cut the crap, we can just crack on and play CounterStrike. And if you don't know much about Faceit, so should we move on?
I don't know much about anything, mate.
Sound. So something you do know a bit is we saw this post on Reddit and we thought this would be a interesting thing for us just to quickly touch on and talk about, which was someone posted, what is the hardest thing for a new Counter-Strike player to learn? So a new player or a casual player, let's say. Is it utility? Is it callouts? Is it the recoil of guns? Or they put other? So let's just start with the 3. So utility, callouts, recoil. What would you say is the hardest for a new player to learn, or for new or casual players to learn? What would you say?
Well, all of these things could be learned with some time and effort, right? So if you want to learn some nade lineups, you can do that. You just need to practice, watch some videos, put the work in. Same with call out, same with recoil and like spray pattern, let's say. Out of all them, the call outs, you know, anyone could learn. Just jump on YouTube. I would say the spray control has to be the hardest out of those 3, you would think, because there's so many different guns and it's going to take you a long time to get used to that pattern, and that's something you physically have to practice. You can't just jump on YouTube and watch how to, you know, control your spray. There is some good like aim maps and stuff like that for spray control though. But yeah, there's so many different guns, and it's so hard anyway. Like, and there's also like movement and things like that involved in your spraying.
Well, movement you might say would come into the other category then of like a.
No, but I mean when you're spraying, like your
get...
spray pattern's different whether you're ducked or standing, or if you're actually moving. With most guns, you know, your spray's going everywhere. So out of those 3, for a new person, I would say them. Utility, there's levels to that as well, right?
I think recoil, just touch on recoil quickly, in a way is not as bad, because with the loadouts that we now have, you're able to almost limit your guns down, especially if you have like 2 M4s, whatever. And I think once you've learned the set amount of guns, they're just transferable to like any situation or any map, right? That's how I feel.
So if I jump on a map now and say, right, show me your spray control on this bullseye sign, are you going to spray it perfect in the bullseye?
I'm going to spray it perfect, but I'm going to spray it the same way on any map. Like, it's not going to change. But whereas utility or callouts, you've got a lot more to remember with callouts for 8 maps in a competitive cycle. Or utility, you've got effectively 4 nades. Yeah, smoke, flash, HE, molly. Let's assume you're not really using a decoy. So you've got four nades to use. on is it 8 maps? I want to say 8 maps or whatever the competitive pool is. So that's low, and then all the positions of those maps to remember if you want to do lineups and stuff, or at least just get a general consensus of how you should use utility.
Depends what you're saying though. Are you saying like, right, I want you to learn
Lineups.
some sick nade lineups, or are you just
Yeah.
using utility?
I know, yeah, I don't know. I think what's the hardest thing to learn and general utility usage? For me, I think it's that, or knowing when to use it, or knowing. But then all these things are kind of interchangeable as well, aren't they, in a weird way? Because
It's like what? Yeah, it's like what do you mean by like hardest? Because you could just jump on YouTube and be like, right, Mirage smoke lineups or Mirage, and learn a load of nade lineups. Then you could do the same with each map and each bomb site. But there is levels to it. Like there's definitely levels to utility. Call outs. I wouldn't say there's levels to it, but that's just people just knowing it. You either know call outs or you don't. But I think spray control, man. Like I see some spray controller pros at like distance, and I'm like, wow, that is insane, and that is thousands and thousands of hours and a conscious effort to learn a spray pattern as well. Like spraying someone's head when they're in pit on A long and you're on the bomb site. When people when the pros spray and they can just see like a little tiny pixel overhead and they're still spraying, like I'm just like tapping, tap, 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 tap.
yeah, and just aiming
I
above
still
their head
can't.
and then going, I swear I
This
hit
game,
him.
this game's bullshit.
Okay, fair enough. I think all of them have their own, unique difficulties, and all of them are hard in their own right, I'd say. I always find call-outs really hard. I find it in the heat of the moment when, like, 3 people are pushing you, and like one might be, I don't know, a certain position along short or something. I find my brain can't get it out that quick, actually. And also I'm just thinking kill them or stop them.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking like quickly
Some people really struggle like with comms in general. Like some people don't talk, like they find difficult talking while they're shooting or whatever.
I think I can sometimes shut down and just focus on shooting.
But also with call-outs, people have different names for different things, and a lot of people don't know what certain places are called. So you could make a call-out, and people are like, "Where's that? What sandwich? What are you on about? A sandwich?"
Yeah, Tetris. Oh, okay. Okay, listen, mate. I think we're gonna. Have you got anything else you want to talk about before we? I think we could wrap this up. Based on timings and how late it is. It's quite late, and I've got.
It's a bit past your bedtime, mate.
It is a bit. It's getting there, mate. It's been a long day. I've been up since 5.
Oosh.
Have you got anything else you want to talk about or touch on before we maybe wrap it up? Or?
No, mate. I'm all good. I'm looking forward to the opening rounds of the major. And when's the Steam coin thingy, majiggy?
Steam coin thing, what do you mean?
For the major, you do the.
Oh, yeah. When's Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Pick'ems.
Yeah.
Don't know, man.
I want to do that.
Yeah. Well, when it's up, we'll talk about it, no doubt. All right. Listen, GGs. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.